Opening up the phone lines to get things rolling, 412-928-9370. This is a Pitt show. We've got Pitt faithful. And I want your thoughts on this particular situation. The Pittsburgh Steelers select Drew Allar in the third round of the NFL draft. Penn State quarterback. I'll give my thoughts initially. I don't love the pick. I do think he has a ton of potential. I'm not sure he was coached very well by Andy Kotelnicki at Penn State in terms of development. I think he's rather raw. He has a ton of talent and ability and arm talent, but obviously had some difficulty and was hurt last year. But I'm curious to this because Kenny Pickett and that pick, obviously a first-round pick is different than a third-round pick. Back in 2022 was a lightning rod pick. And I don't think I'm assuming this. I think it's fact. I think Penn State fans and West Virginia fans that also are Steeler fans were all over it. My inquiry, my prompt to those listening this morning, again, 412-928-9370. Do Pitt fans feel the same way about Drew Allar? If you're a Pitt fan and you're a Steeler fan, do you want Drew Allar to be successful? I'll go and say, I want him to be successful. I want the Steelers to win. I'm not rooting against the kid. I think it'll be very interesting watching him and Will Howard duke it out. And if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, one of them could presumably be the starting quarterback if Mason Rudolph relinquishes the job. But I'm curious what Pitt fans are thinking this morning. Could this be an opportunity to get a little bit of revenge in their mind, given how the Kenny Pickett situation played out? And to be clear, Kenny Pickett didn't perform at an all-pro level and then get traded. But I do think circumstances worked against him from the standpoint that he didn't have a lot around him. You had George Pickens. You had a young offensive line. He was taking over for Ben Roethlisberger. Mitch Trubisky was supposed to be a stopgap. That didn't work. This is a little bit different for Drew Allar, but I'm curious your thoughts. 412-928-9370. We got a ton to get into today. Mike Bell, Pitt baseball coach, is going to join us at 8:45. Big win for the Panthers last night, 7-5 over Virginia. They've got themselves in the hunt, not only for the ACC tournament, potentially to make a regional in the NCAA tourney for baseball. They're approaching 30 wins. Obviously, they had a huge win earlier this week that we're going to get into with Coach Bell, 23-1 over the 12th-ranked Mountaineers of West Virginia University on the road. And as impressive as the 23 runs are, perhaps more impressive is only yielding one run to a very potent offense. And you talk about potent offense. Pitt is third in the country in runs scored and scoring average. Just over 9 runs a game for the Panthers. We'll talk to the skipper, Mike Bell, at 8:45 and get into this late season push. Obviously, some big victories and this offensive prowess that his ball club has displayed throughout the course of this season as they push for a postseason appearance. Again, your call is 412-928-9370 on this dreary morning. The NFL draft, man, and we'll let the phone lines stack up. Your thoughts on the NFL draft. Joel, have you gone down yet?
Planning on it this afternoon.
Good. Hopefully the weather clears up for you. It is a scene, man. I mean, it is a scene. And the Pitt Block Party over on Arts Landing has been really cool. If you get a chance, you go through the city and you're going to cross one of the bridges, stop on the corner of Fort Duquesne Boulevard and I believe 7th Avenue. There's a huge park that's gotten totally redone by the Cultural Trust, and the cultural district down there is kind of complete now with a great outdoor space, and Pitt is really activated at football toss. Odyssey's there, KDK Radio, Star 100.7, our brother and sister stations. And there's a museum which you can measure your hand against Larry Fitzgerald's hand, your wingspan compared to Aaron Donald, see the Heisman Trophy, and so on and so forth. It's a really cool time. And then you make your way across the bridge, and obviously the North Shore is the North Shore. You go to the Point. There's a lot to do there. Combine experience. This is the day I think, Joel, you're right. Pittsburghers are really gonna get their chance to get down. It was, the outsiders had their moment, and Thursday was just spectacular. I mean, I got chills watching renegade play and that the drone footage of the crowd. And I like the first round pick. Yeah, I know, these things happen though in the NFL, right? You make a call to Mekhi Lemon, you think you might take him, and then the Eagles jump you. My guess is Omar Khan and Mike McCarthy felt like, man, we got to take the best available at 21. If Lemon's there, he's the guy. Then they take him and they're ready to go tackle, which might have been their plan from the beginning. But a lot of tackles got taken earlier than that. And I thought it would be really interesting. I actually tweeted it out that when you see 4 or 5 tackles go early in the draft and you're have a need at tackle, it gets interesting. And you got to dig a little bit deeper into your note sheet and see who you evaluated. And obviously the Steelers did just that. I like the Jeremy Bernard pick. So a lot more to come. Kyle Lewis still on the board for those Panther faithful out there. Did not go in day 2 of the NFL draft. Thought he might sneak into the 3rd round. Thought he might be a fit for the Steelers, but the All-American linebacker remains on the board and certainly one of the best available as we start the 4th round here today of the NFL draft. Let's go to Matt in North Hills. Matt, good morning.
Good morning, Pat. So, oh boy, do I have a lot to say about the Drew Allar.
The floor is yours, my friend.
Ticket. So, I'm not going to rehash the whole Kenny Pickett situation. He wasn't good enough, but at the same time, he was put in a position to fail. I think you and I would agree on that.
100%.
As far as Drew Allar, there were definitely Penn State fans, and you're already seeing it now. There's a couple of clowns in the local media on another radio station, one that's a big-time radio big mouth, and then one that covers the Penguins. You might know who they are, who are already dunking on Pitt fans about this.
Of course.
There were people when Kenny Pickett was here that affiliated with Penn State especially that just flat out wanted to fail. I'm not talking about social media. I'm talking about people that I know that got a huge laugh out of him failing. So here's my expectation for Drew Allar. Super Bowl or he's a bust. That's the expectation for the Steelers. That's the expectation that was put on Kenny Pickett. So there you go. Drew Allar, Super Bowl, or you're getting clowned, and I hope you get run out of town.
Matt from North Hills, speaking of dunking, and again, I'm going to open up the phone lines. And those of you that listen to the show or tune into our broadcasts on fall Saturdays or listen to the Fan Morning Show on Thursdays when I join the boys, I'm not typically a hot take guy, right? Having played that position at the penultimate highest level, the second highest level, I know how hard it is. I know how easy it is to fail and not reach the top, how hard it is to get there or even get close. And I think Drew Allar has a lot of talent. I think by all accounts, he's a great kid. I think his development was stunted at Penn State a little bit. They had a ton of talent around him, but they ran a gimmicky offense those last 2 years, and it didn't bring out the best in him, some of the stuff they were doing. Frankly, it probably would have been better, and maybe Penn State fans will agree with me, that if Bo Pribula was their guy. Perhaps James Franklin's still the coach. But that's how the cookie crumbled. So I'm not rooting for Drew Allar to fail. And I don't hate the pick. Right? To stockpile talent in the quarterback room, you got 2 young, just ripe for the picking, developmental quarterbacks, and then you got Mason Rudolph, and then we'll see if Aaron Rodgers comes back. So I don't hate the concept. But what'll be interesting to see is there a double standard? Is there a double standard? Because obviously Kenny Pickett didn't perform up to the expectations this city had for him, which are high expectations. It's a hard place to play that position because it is Super Bowl or bust, right? They've been mired in not making the playoffs or winning a playoff game. That's the bar. And Kenny Pickett didn't reach that. Now, he had some really good moments, and he had some injury problems and didn't get the best protection and had some receiver drama. So do I think partially got a raw deal? Partially wasn't good enough. It'll be interesting, all things being equal, if Drew Allar gets the same treatment. Let's go to Tom in Mount Levo. Tom, good morning.
Hi, Pat. Great show as always.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes, Pat, I think the Steelers already know that Rodgers is coming back. And you two young quarterbacks in Allen and Howard under the tutelage of Mike McCarthy, I think will work wonders. I think Mason Rudolph is the odd man out. And just a comment, Pat, about the fans. Every time Roger Goodell comes to the stage or the podium, there's a chorus of boos. Now, that's not Pittsburgh. We don't have to do that. What are your thoughts on that, Pat?
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Tom, and always good hearing from a neighbor in Mount Lebanon. I don't know if that's all Pittsburgh fans. I think it's a popular thing to do. Again, Joel and I just chatted about it, right? Thursday, Friday is more of the transient day of the draft. You got a lot of fans in there, and Goodell's been getting booed for years. I mean, he's got an affinity to this region for sure. Being a W&J guy, and I think maybe it'll be a little bit different today, but I guess that's in vogue. I guess that's in vogue, and I don't like it either, but it's part of the deal. Let's go to Tom in Bradenton. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Pat. Look, as a Central grad, if a student or an athlete from Central gets if Pitt wants them or West Virginia wants them, etc., and they don't go to Pitt, I'm a little upset. So other than that, I have no problem with Drew. And also, as far as booing, Pitt fans boo the throw over to first base in baseball. Makes no sense. So booing somebody else is not a problem to me.
Appreciate the call, Tom. Let's go to John in the car. John, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Hail to Pitt.
Hail to Pitt, my man.
I'm rooting for Drew Allar.
Me too.
I'm a Pitt grad, and you know what? I'm not going to be like the classless Penn State and West Virginia people. Once you go out of college, like now it's different. You're playing for the Steelers. I think he has all the physical tools. He has been able to demonstrate he could play at a pro level, played in a pro-style offense. I think he had really bad coaching and did not have great receivers to work with. So I'm rooting for him. If he takes us to the Super Bowl and beyond, it'll be a legendary pick. But as a Pitt fan, I'm rooting for him.
I appreciate that and appreciate the call, John. Again, like I said, I'm rooting for him too. I'm going to sit back and watch this thing play out, right? I have all the confidence in the world that Mike McCarthy and company, Tom Arth, are going to develop him, and he is developmental in nature. He's got all the raw ability. Will Howard has maybe not as much raw arm talent, but has all the intangibles and mobility and toughness. It'll be it's a very good situation from that standpoint. I wanted to see Will Howard get all the preseason reps. That's not going to happen now. But again, I can get right with this. I can get right with this. But if it doesn't go well, or if it doesn't go perfect, right? Because that's what we expect here is they got to get this right. And we're assuming they're taking a first-round quarterback next year. I mean, this is just an ironic turn of events at the quarterback position for the Pittsburgh Steelers.